Hey, what's good with the YouTube, man? It's your boy Rojo, and this is the Rojo Room, man. And today we're gonna do an episode, man. I gotta do it moving though, man. Gotta go to work, man. But I wanted to put this one out there. I'm gonna tell you, as you can tell by the title, tell you about the time the homies told on your boy, man. So check it out, man. On my first term, I go to Susanville, Cascade Yard, level 1. I only had 17 points, bro. I was just in there for like a burglaries, well, multiple burglaries and shit, and auto theft, and I was young. So I go to the 1 yard, end up going to PFT training, which is the training for fire camp. Right? Past that shit, gotta run a mile, gotta do all kinds of weird shit. Anyway, I get endorsed to Camp 8 Delta, which is amazing because it's right there in Suisun City, which is basically Fairfield. Now, before I go there, there's a place, while you're waiting for a bed to open up in a fire camp or transportation or whatnot, you go to this place called Arnold Unit. And it's right outside of the Cascade Yard, outside of the main walls. And, it's just a little dorm living fucking, you be over there and you got little jobs like recycling and shit like that. I worked in recycling. It was pretty nasty. But, anyway, eventually the bus comes, they come and take me. I go to Camp 8, and it's dope, bro. My people only got to drive like 30 minutes to come visit, you know what I mean? I was hitting, they don't even trip on you in fire camp, bro. It's so easy to introduce whatever you want to at any point in time, man, because, man, I don't even remember them stripping us out, they would just pat us down. Well, I'm there for a while, man. I get assigned to my crew, man. Everything's cool. And there was a East Indian homeboy named Chima, and he was hitting real big on visits, man. These people would come from Yuba City and shit and bring him hella black. So he was like the celebrity there, you know what I mean? Well, me and this dude used to play basketball and stuff, right? I thought he was all right and shit, but I used to play ball pretty well. And I used to terrorize him on the court. Games of 21, it'd be like game over. He'd have 6, you know what I mean? 4, 8, you know what I mean? Well, one day, he was getting kind of a little physical. He was tired of losing. He was taller than me and a little bigger than me. I was pretty small, before I started hitting the weights and stuff. And we're out there playing, and he gets mad and pegs the basketball at my face and gives me a bloody nose. And, I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, all right, bitch, you know what I'm saying? And he acted like he apologized and whatever, but he was feeling some type of way. Just mad because he's a sore loser. Well, like the next day or the day after, we're on the same little crew for fire camp. And this fool says something to me, and basically saying that I was a pussy for not doing nothing about him throwing the ball at me. And I was like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? There's people watching, and I'm like, man, I can't do nothing to this dude or I'll get in trouble. And I'm not one to go and tell the homies, dude's being mean, you know what I mean? Like some kind of chiruhu, right? So a couple days go by, we're playing ball again. And I'm keeping an eye on him now. You know what I mean? I thought it was a done deal. He had his little temper tantrum and whatnot. Man, same thing, man. I make it rain on him. Bam, busted 3 in his face. And I asked him how it tasted. And he pegged the ball at me again. I bobbed and weaved on it this time, man. It went flying by me. And I went up and I just gave him a bling, 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 like a nice 6-piece, bro. Sat him on his butt. And the homies ran over and break it up and started being, angry at me, right? And they're like, well, you're not allowed to hit a homeboy and this and that. I'm like, okay, well, the other day, this fool threw a basketball, hit me in the face, made my nose bleed. You guys weren't around. I let it slide. He was talking shit on the little fucking, fire camp bus, basically calling me a pussy for just getting hit in the face. And today he tried to throw the ball at me again, and I felt I had to defend myself. So these guys go and they have a little junta, you know what I mean, to talk about it. And they're a bunch of dump truck, heroin addict, lame, they're hiding from general population, basically type of dudes. And they decide that they talk to him to see how he wants to handle it. Like, now, bear in mind, he's the connection for the black, so he had a lot of juice around there because of that. And he's like, well, I want to see him in a one-on-one fade. And they agreed to let us fight. No. So we go behind the building. There's homeboys keeping posts at each end of the building, making sure the police can't sneak up. At fire camp, man, there's usually only like, 3 cops, sometimes only 2. It's no more than 4 at the most. And so we go out there behind the thing. Oh, bro, I torched him, bro. I must have hit him with like 30 shots. And I don't remember for sure, but I don't think he landed a single one. And if it was very insignificant. But I torched him so bad that in like 30 seconds, man, they came and grabbed us and they said, hey, it's over. And so fucking that happens. Well, we go get cleaned up and shit. He's obviously been in a fight. Like, he's lumped up, bruised up, swole up, and you can't tell nothing's wrong with me. So I could tell they're acting funny though. You know what I mean? I don't remember I remember one of their names. I'm not gonna mention it now because we became cool later. But it was a homeboy from Dakota. And I could tell they were acting funny toward me. And it's like, bro, I had nothing I could do. You know what I mean? There wasn't nothing I could do about it. I felt like I had to defend myself. I already been hit once. And they just had me like on the straight shine. Well, fast forward later on in the evening, they come by to do, head count, whatever. And they see dude all messed up. And immediately they put him in cuffs. And, he don't snitch, bro. He holds his mud. They're like, what happened? He's like, oh, no, we were just playing basketball and I caught an elbow. They're like, man, you look like you caught like 20 elbows in a row. And he don't say nothing. You know what I mean? He went out like a G, bro. And his name's Chima, bro, from Yuba City. And I appreciate him. But, you do, we're both youngsters, you know what I mean? You have a temper when you're young and it's no big deal. And it shouldn't end your career, you know what I mean? Unless you do something outlandish. You get in a little fight, yeah, you should have some discipline coming and whatnot. I get it, because it sets a bad example of conduct and unity and carnalismo and shit. But, so they start checking everybody's knuckles. They run right by me and this and that. Well, since they knew that dude was a northerner, they started pulling in the people they thought had juice. And they were right. These guys, I mean, in real life, they don't have no juice, but on a fire camp, they had the juice, you know what I mean? And, they pull in like the 3 main guys and a couple other guys to ask them what happened. And I swear to God, 5 minutes later, they came and handcuffed me. They didn't pull in no black folks, no white folks. They only pulled in the homies. And the homies told on me. There was, when I went to my 115, there was confidential information disclosure form. And whoever it was that told, if not all of them, had told on things prior. It's got a little disclosure form thing on the things to say why their confidential information is deemed credible. And one of the boxes that was checked was that the said confidential informant provided information in the past that led to felony conviction, as well as led to other. Basically, his information was reliable because he snitched before. You know what I'm saying? But that little red on red stuff. So anyway, it's no joke, bro. It's a popularity contest. They didn't want him to go because he was getting heroin, and that's what it boiled down to. He still had to go anyway, and now they had to find a new avenue to get heroin, and they weren't happy about it. But anyway, I ended up going to the hole in Susanville from there. And I explained what was going on to the homeboy from Tulare County. I can't remember his name. I want to say it was Payaso from Tulare County. I shot him the paperwork and I shot him the disclosure for him. And he's like, man, you can't be, he just basically told me that I can't be putting my hands on a homeboy. And I'm like, and I explained to him, the order of events that led up to me doing that. And he's like, well, man, actually you did the right thing at no time. Also, should you not defend yourself if attacked? And I'm like, man, that's, kind of what I was going on, man. I let him pass with the first one. I didn't go, tattletale. And he's like, basically telling me that when a homie does something wrong, especially something that serious, that you're always supposed to say something to the authority in charge. And I'm like, look, the authority in charge there, they were all on H, bro. They were all, they were nasty too, man. It was the first time I ever seen anybody inject drugs. Was in my bunk area, man. I had a bunk and it was right up against the wall, to the main hallway. And the three main dudes there came over one day and they're like, hey, we're gonna use your bed area real quick. I'm like, handle it. And so I'm up on my rack reading a book, and they get to handling their business with the black and the bottle cap and the cotton. And I swear to God, man, one of them did some and then just passed the edit right to the next person, bro, without any kind of cleaning it or nothing, dude. I was like, oh my God. I'm thinking in my head, because I'm 18 years old. I'm thinking, oh, all you guys got the AIDS. You know what I'm saying? Like, you some nasty motherfuckers, right? And it turns out that one of the dudes that they think more than likely was the one who provided confidential information was a old degenerate NR member that slid through the system and ended up getting a fire camp. And people in fire camp, they're not usually going to bust a grave and do any kind of removals or nothing like that, but so anyway, I ended up getting cleared. And but check this out, it ends up following me again. One time I'm in Quentin and I'm already a bro, and I'm already what you call it, I'm already holding a position of authority. We had a 3-man council that me and Flacco from Santa Rosa and Porky from Daly City, we ran San Quentin together because we were all younger bros, you know what I mean? But we were the most well-schooled individuals there. So we made a little 3-man committee to make sure, if one of us would have just took responsibility and ran it, it'd be a lot easier to make a mistake than when you got 3 dudes, you know what I'm saying? So we did it like that. And then there was a dude who had showed up that was in Susanville that had heard about what happened, that didn't know I got it resolved, and tried to bring it up again to one of the homies. And he's like, look, bro, unless, the homie Flacco told him, like, look, unless you know something that the homies in the hole didn't know back, 2 years ago, when Rojo was able to provide all the paperwork and got cleared by buy-in from Tulare County, I would just let this go if I were you, because right now you're essentially gossiping about a hermano, you know what I mean? So, but man, the situations that you can find yourself in prison, like, you think, man, this dude assaulted me, I got a right to defend myself. Man, you ain't knowing he's the one who brings in the cargo, you know what I'm saying? And he's got friends, because everybody, all the older dudes that are like my age now that were there, they were all dope fiends, bro. And that's all they did was, fight fires and shoot H. And it could have been a predicament, man, because if I would have ended up in the hole with maybe somebody who wasn't feeling me, or somebody who just like, fuck this young white dude, or whatever the case might have been, my whole career could have been over behind some homeboy favoritism because he was the plug. You know what I mean? In my career, that could have been a tragic, miscarriage of justice right there as far as the homies go, because for one, you guys aren't supposed to be using H. For two, there's a known tattletale that's provided, confidential information in the past that has led to a felony arrest. And it's just like, man, bro, Rojo career was almost over before it started behind some dude who couldn't handle losing that basketball. And it wasn't him who told, bro. You know what I mean? I seen his paperwork. It said inmate Chima refused to say anything other than he was playing basketball and caught an elbow and this and that. And I guess he had went to the hole too, and he said it was his fault and all this and that. So it made me get clear real easy, man. But you gotta be careful, man. Things like that. Everybody's on the streets like, oh, how come you're all bad? How come this? How come that? And then you got the homeboy Gunners thing where people were using drugs, and he did what his training told him and got the bad seed off the yard. They had a little more juice than he did, and he ends up on the B&L for doing what was right, by doing what we were taught. So what I'm saying is, the reason for this thing is don't judge necessarily every book by its cover, man, because I ended up being a category 2 NF member. You know what I'm saying? Like, and my career could have been over before it started. You know, so when you see people that, you know, that aren't on the right side anymore, or GP, whatever you want to call it, man, a lot of times, man, in a lot of situations, there's a story. You know, more often than not, the dude's just a weenie, you know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of cases, man, of, you know, some poor investigation and all that kind of stuff that leads to people being declared no good, that never in a million years should have been that. Their due process was just, you know, totally violated and disrespected. Anyway, this is your boy Rojo. This is the Rojo Room. I hope y'all have a great Wednesday, and I'll be on the live in a little bit, man. Appreciate y'all.